Welcome back to CatchFishNotFeelingz. It's still been a while since we've had like clear conditions, but nonetheless, we managed to bring home some dinner. The visibility wasn't the greatest and there were just a lot of particles just floating in the water, but this was a day after the grading run and I was actually hoping to find some halibut just lounging around, but I didn't have any luck at all. Any of y'all have any advice on hunting halibut in the daytime? Feel free to leave them in the comments below. It will help me out a lot and hopefully I get a halibut video out there in the future too. My friend though, on the other hand, he managed to land a really nice size sheephead. It was about 22 inches and I want to say it was like 7 to 10 pounds. It's really nice catch, so kudos to him. For me though, I managed to catch a pretty nice size kelp crab just crawling on the rocks. I hope you guys enjoyed the dive and stick to the end to watch my attempt at making a California roll with real crab.
A kelp crab. Yeah. Oh, thank you. He only has like one claw. Yeah. Funny. Oh, that's a big sheephead, dude. Gotta get it. Oh, he really doesn't want to go in. They put that booty in there too.
So now we are back in the kitchen. This is actually my first time making California roll, so let me know in the comments below if you have any advice. I'm honestly not that good at this, but any advice would be gladly appreciated. I'm just gonna go through like the steps I did to prepare it, and in the end, the roll is pretty decent. Not the best, sushi quality, but it was good. So I started off by cooking the crab. I decided to steam it, but you can definitely boil it as well too, that works. Cooking it should take about 7 to 10 minutes, and as long as the crab turns a lighter red color, it should be fine. Afterwards, I just took it out and let it cool down for a bit. So while that crab is cooking and cooling off, I cook my rice next. I used short grain sushi rice. So you want to follow the instructions on the bag for any measurements, and generally you want to wash the rice first, transfer it to a pot, pour water in, bring it to a boil, lower the heat, and then cover it until it's cooked. Next, I made the sushi rice vinegar mixture. So depending on how much rice you're cooking, the amount you're using is going to change. And in this case, I used 4 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and a pinch of salt. And I actually ended up only using half of the mixture for 1 cup of sushi rice. So you're just gonna mix everything in together until the sugar is dissolved. This is gonna add flavor to your rice as well too. Next, I prepped the veggies. I decided to use cucumbers and avocado just to keep it simple and basic. So I started off by slicing the cucumbers diagonally. I spread them out, and then I started slicing it into thin strips. Likewise, I cut the avocado into thin strips too. You're going to want to cut the avocado in half, then into quarters, and then peel off the skin. You don't really have to cut it diagonally like I did, but honestly, cutting it straight down is probably safer and you'll get the same results. Once that rice is done cooking, I moved it to a separate bowl and poured some of our sushi rice vinegar mixture in. So make sure you want to mix that in well with a wooden spoon or a plastic rice spoon, and the goal is to try to get every single grain coated with that vinegar. And as you're mixing it, try not to smush any rice grains. Here, I kind of messed up a little bit and added too little water when I cooked my sushi rice, and so it ended up being a little hard, and I just had to work with it. And I was just kind of too hungry to complain. Now, I'm ready to prepare my crab and separate the meat from the shell. So that skinny flap you see underneath the crab is called an apron, and that's how you sex the crab. Female crabs have wider aprons and male crabs have narrower aprons like this. Hence, this is why this is a male and he has a big claw. With that apron, we are going to lift it up and take it off. There should be a little hole in the shell exposed, and using your hand and finger, you want to just pull the top part off. And what you have exposed are the gills and guts. So with my 2 hands, I broke the crab into 2, and shit can get a little messy, so I'd recommend gloves and definitely some towels.
Oh shit.
So what we have exposed here are the gills and the guts of the crab. You're gonna want to remove them and just throw them away. They don't have a lot of flavor in them, and their texture is a little unappetizing, and so we're not gonna include that into our California roll. The top part of the crab legs are called the knuckles, and there's a lot of meat in there. For me personally, for my family, when we eat crab, we would chew on the knuckles and then start breaking the legs. There's definitely a lot of meat in the knuckles, but it's a little bit more work because of those like white shells. But yeah, for this we're gonna dissect the crab and just extract as much meat as we can. And it's a little messy and a lot of work, but it'll be worth it. I'm sure there are tools out there like metal picks and everything for doing this kind of stuff, but all I have are my hands. For the legs, these crabs have pretty thick shells, and I had to use a seafood cracker. And one thing I noticed about these crabs is that their meat is pretty dense and thick, but it's pretty darn sweet. Definitely really good eating. Alright, now that we have all our ingredients prepped up, we're ready to start making the California rolls. And so I used a sushi making bamboo mat, and I wrapped it in some plastic wrap so it's easier to clean. I can just peel it off and throw it away. So I started off by grabbing a sheet of nori, or seaweed. I broke this one in half because I didn't think I needed the entire sheet. And so I got some rice, spread it out on one side evenly on the entire sheet. I added some furikake seasoning. You can also add sesame seeds too, that works. And I flipped it over and I started adding the inside ingredients. So I added the crab in first, and then the cucumber, and then the avocado. So you want to be mindful of how much you put in, just because you don't want to overstuff your roll. Here, I kind of fucked up, and you'll be able to see why. I definitely added too much inside my roll, and when I rolled it together, the ends of the sushi sheet should touch, but they weren't able to in this case. So I kind of just left that ugly side facing the bottom, and you could hardly notice it. This next row is a little better. I added less ingredients in, but it's the same idea. You know, I put in the crab meat, cucumber, avocado, and I rolled it together. I re-rolled it a couple times to get the shape just right, and just to make sure like the seaweed sheet is touching together. And next, I cut my rolls into pieces. And as I mentioned before, I kind of messed up on cooking my rice, and it was kind of too hard. So I actually had trouble cutting the pieces up, but you know, for my first time making California rolls, I think it could have been worse. Plating it up didn't make it look too bad, and eating it though was pretty good, you know. Very satisfying to eat my own catch. Yeah, I hope this helps you guys kind of get a general idea on how to make California rolls. This isn't the best tutorial, but this is more of like my attempt on doing this for my first time, and I think it turned out okay. If you made it this far into the video, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and let me know your thoughts. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on Instagram at CatchFishNotFeelingz to see my recent catch. And don't forget, catch fish, not feelings.